Okay, guys, breaking news for you out of California. For those of you who have been paying attention to San Diego, or maybe not even trying to pay attention, but you keep hearing about San Diego, it's because over the last few years, San Diego has shifted as a county in terms of leadership from a conservative county board of supervisors going into COVID. Then in the middle of COVID, because it's a 5-person board, we lost our conservative majority. And for the first time, we saw a switch to become a very, very progressive, not even just like a slight switch, but we went from conservative majority to highly progressive majority. And that switch has been felt throughout COVID, the end of COVID, and most recently during the open border fiasco. So today, the chair of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors, Nora Vargas, just announced in a statement that she had made the decision to step away from the county board based on, quote, personal safety and security reasons, didn't give any specifications, and said it's been her honor to serve in public office during all these unprecedented times, blah, blah, blah. She's very dramatic. So I would expect nothing less from Nora than to make it about personal safety and security reasons. I want to tell you what I actually think happened. So when you show up to board meetings or you watch board meetings from afar, you can clearly read who it is that's doing this because of ego and pride. Nora Vargas, hands down, is doing this because of ego and pride. And in addition to that, she crusaded into her role saying that she was going to be all about the immigrant community, especially the Mexican community. Nora Vargas actually is not California born, not American born. She was born in Tijuana. So it makes sense that she has always had an affinity for especially Tijuana and for residents of Mexico and for the migrant community. Well, it's one thing to have a soft spot. It's another thing to be so progressive in your policies that your focus becomes on protecting that as a class over your own San Diego American citizens. So just to give you kind of like a quick roll through of some of the policies that she supported most recently, which made massive headlines. It became a national headline. She supported a policy that which did limit local law enforcement cooperation with federal immigration enforcement. And her whole thrust of this was to protect the immigrant community. She made a push for a policy decision that ultimately made San Diego a super sanctuary, setting us as even more extreme and more radical than California as a whole state when it comes to sanctuary state policies. Well, our sheriff in San Diego responded to that and said, nope, that's not the way it works. I'm not going to be following your orders. Thank you very much. That was a national embarrassment for Nora Vargas. And it was a huge failing for someone who has championed being progressive and radical when it comes to the migrant community. I think that was the final straw that broke the camel's back. I don't believe that it was because of anything else that she says in her letter. I think she was humiliated nationally and she chose to exit stage left. So in addition to that super sanctuary policy that she pushed, that was a total failure and a complete humiliation for her, she also was behind the creation of these welcome centers, where San Diego spent millions of dollars for bougie welcome centers that were riddled with fraud and a whole lot of questions that didn't seem to get answered. Her whole push for this was to provide supportive resources for migrants that would offer guidance, referrals, assistance with program enrollment for various services like resettlement, financial aid, food, nutrition assistance, health education. Those migrant welcome centers expanded throughout San Diego County under her directive push. This was something that she was very passionate about, was radicalizing San Diego County in terms of our open border policies and not being restrictive against the open border at all, but actually expanding and becoming even more radicalized than California as a whole. She also pushed for migrant transition day centers, where she supported the acceptance of nearly $19.6 million from FEMA to establish a migrant transition day center, providing shelter, food, transport, and other necessities to illegal foreigners on, again, our tax dime, our money. She pushed for the allocation of $3 million to support the migrant welcome centers that were run by nonprofits and NGOs. And then she actually personally sent a letter to President Biden requesting $1.5 million per month to operate one of these centers, highlighting the urgency of federal assistance. She was earning an annual salary of, from what I can find, somewhere around $300,000 that also included security details. So she was riding the gravy train and pushing extremely radical progressive policies, which ended up in a national failure and complete humiliation that happened right before her resignation. So what happens next is under board policies, the supervisors will be required to decide within 7 business days of this vacancy opening how they plan to fill it. They can either go through an appointment or a special election. And then because Nora Vargas was the chair of San Diego County, that position will have to be redistributed to someone else on the Board of Supervisors. Obviously, it is extremely important that this goes to special election and that it's not appointed. And in the coming days, you'll see me advocate for that. We need to really make sure that our supervisors who are still there realize that for ethical reasons in our functioning San Diego County government, it has to be that this becomes a special election and is not done from the inside, like an insider's deal. Also, in addition to that, I would heartily encourage us to really consider the board members that we currently have and who has been the most faithful in fighting for the people of San Diego, the residents of San Diego, and not for progressive, radical policies that have become national embarrassments. That person would be Jim Desmond. So in the coming days, you're going to see me talk more about this. I will be sharing how you can get involved if you're in San Diego County, but this is actually a huge win, and Christmas came early. The fact that Nora Vargas has resigned is a great gift for San Diego County.